Okay, so TJ, you this is a this is a sin,
Oh,
and you put it here, and then when you put it in here, yeah,
it becomes salty.
okay, that's it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Filipino Freethinkers podcast. That's also a video. I'm Red.
I'm TJ.
I'm T-shirt.
And today's a very special episode because we have special guests. TJ and Pisher have been two people that I'm very thankful for because nowadays, unlike before, when the fluorescent light and the Armalite like came out, and those rumors about it being invented by a Filipino came out, like there was no one who came out and vocally. Well, we didn't have the internet back then, so how could anyone blog about it? But thankfully, we have the internet now. We have people who write. We have journalists who bring attention to these issues. So you probably know what we're talking about. We're talking about Isa Mijeno and the clever acronym of SALT: Sustainable Alternative Lighting Technology. How awesome is that? It's awesome, right? It makes you wonder, did the awesomeness of this acronym like make the people behind this company really stick to their guns? And it's all powered. I mean, how could it not be? It's an awesome acronym. It can power anything. Anyway, let's get into the thing. If you haven't heard about this incident or read about it, here's a link, but we'll touch on it a bit. So can you give us a brief summary of what this invention is that got even President Obama and Jack Ma of Alibaba to feature this Filipino during the recent APEC?
Okay, so as described by many, especially in the media and in social media, this is a lamp. They call it a salt lamp, or as you
Does
said,
lamp stand for anything like light amplification? Lamp. Okay, anyway.
lamp. Yeah, like
Okay,
amplified lamp.
I don't know if it's an acronym, but it's a lamp.
Mm-hmm.
It's powered by.
So it claims to be, or many people say that it is powered by salt water. So
Okay.
they say it's a saltwater powered lamp.
Okay, and is it a salt water powered lamp? That's the controversy here. Because if it were powered by salt water, that would be awesome because the sea is huge. 80% of, is it 80? Is it 70? The world is a lot of salt water, and anyone can just get salt water from the sea, and then you have in the mountains, in the jungles, these devices that are powered indefinitely by based on how much salt water you have. But some writers are contesting this, saying that the saltwater powered lamp isn't actually powered by saltwater lamp.
Yes.
You are one of the first to write about this on
Yes.
the. Here's a link, by the way, to what TJ
Right
wrote.
there.
Okay.
Yeah. So the thing is, the idea of a saltwater power, to say nothing of a lamp,
Okay.
it's a very sexy idea.
Super sexy.
Because I mean, it's true that salt is easily obtainable. You can just mix it up with water, salt water itself, right? Seawater and all that. So the idea that you can get a lot of energy, all practically free from salt water is a very interesting idea. But the thing is, when we looked at salt lamp, and the website actually does say this, that it's based on really old technology, the voltaic cells, yes, which is actually essentially a battery. So the key, and which I've said in our article, is that what actually drives the thing are the electrodes, the metal that's in the
Okay.
device itself. So that's important. That's an important distinction because that means it's not renewable. If the power doesn't come from the salt water, it actually comes from these metal pieces that eventually wear out and melt and corrode.
And it costs stuff. I mean, it's more expensive than salt water. So, what would be the more accurate name for this lamp?
That's an interesting thing because unlike saying that it's salt water powered, it's easy to understand. It's quick to understand, but the truth isn't something that you could easily put together. I think the closest that we could say is that it's salt water
Facilitated?
yes,
Process.
facilitated or or aided.
Aided.
Yes,
Okay.
because that's essentially what the salt water does. It doesn't generate the electricity per se, but it enables the
Saltwater
the-
enabled process.
Yes.
Okay, but it's not so sexy when you put it that way.
Well, yeah, and it makes for a pretty kludgy acronym.
Yeah, maybe anode powered or metal powered. But yeah, she wouldn't have gained this much popularity if she made it clear that it was metal air kind of
Yes.
battery powered lamp, which has been around for a very long time.
Yes, yes.
And it's even one of the products that has been in Alibaba for quite some time now,
Yes,
which is interesting because Jack Ma was one of the people who interviewed her during APEC. But let's talk about what the implications of this product are for the Philippines, for Filipino pride, and for science education and literacy in our country. So, what do you think the ramifications of whether this is actually what it claims to be, whether there's some novelty here, or whether it's just something that's made to be deceptive even. Okay, let's get into it.
Well, the thing is, a lot of people are saying that Isa just wants to help,
Okay.
and that may be true. Her heart may be in the right place, but you can't build on shaky science. Even if you have the best of intentions, if it's founded on shaky foundations, it's not going to go that far.
Okay.
And in this case, like we said, the idea that it's running on salt water is such a powerful idea. But if it's actually running on the metal that's corroding, that instantly makes it non-renewable
Yes.
and non-sustainable.
And as a lot of people have pointed out, the alternative to the saltwater powered lamp is the solar powered lamp, which is actually more cost effective and uses renewable energy until the world ends. That is, and there's no sun to power the thing. It's a better product.
It is.
So Isa Mejeno is a hero, and you two, you're the you're the villains. You're the I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for these pesky science writers. So, what have the reactions been like to the piece that you have written for the Mind Museum blog? Yeah, I read your article. It was very friendly. So was yours. It was very what's the word for it? Polite. It's very
Yes.
very kind, and you assumed the best of intentions
Yes.
for. But what's really in your heart of heart? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah. What were the reactions like to the pieces that you wrote? You go ahead.
So far, the reactions that I've read, the people told me, were all positive.
Okay.
So maybe there are negative reactions out there, but they haven't reached me. I haven't read them. And the reactions of most people is that they liked it and that they love the fact that I focused on doing. So instead of just criticizing, there was explanation. I explained the science behind it. Um, and then I went ahead to, okay, this is the explanation, now let's do it, the tinkering side. Because I think that is the main thing that is missing in the conversation about these technologies. So we're talking about innovation here, and we're talking about a hero. But it seems that the mentality and the narrative behind it is, oh, look at this innovation. We can never achieve that on our own. Or no, look at this hero, this lone genius, this innovator who came up with this new thing. Let's put her up on a pedestal. When in fact, the best way to go about it whenever you have technology and science is always to try to emulate.
Yeah.
Like, after all, the narrative of Salt, the company, is that they want to make it help the Filipino public. And I think the best way to make it help the Filipino public isn't just to sell it to the Filipino
Yeah.
public, but to teach the Filipino public the science behind it, and then to encourage them to do it on their own,
Yeah.
and even to innovate, to find even
To
better
build
things.
on
Yes,
the
to build
technology.
on.
As you said, the foundation
Yeah.
is there.
Yes.
But isn't there an issue now? If they're trying to patent what's unique about it, then it will only help to the extent that it can be emulated, and to the extent that it can easily be emulated, it won't be patentable, right? Like, isn't there an issue? She said that she's not disclosing certain details because you have tried several times to reach her
Yes.
for
Yes.
comment, for interview, but she's been elusive.
Yes.
And the answer that she's been giving is to the effect that the IP prevents us from sharing uh, the specific technology used to run this. What's your take on that?
Well, even if that were the case, I believe that the public should have a basic understanding of the science, and there is a way to explain the basic elements of it without going into details, without divulging company secrets. Why is it important to talk about the basic science? Again, like Monsieur said, that if you have a public that understands it, they'll appreciate it more,
Yeah.
and further down the line, they might be able to improve on it.
Yeah, want to mention one of the people who is definitely an expert in this field is your friend Joey Ojo.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
who we invited, but unfortunately he couldn't be here. But you could start. This is a good place as any to start this article on Rappler
Yeah.
about the technology and the whole controversy. And he too is one of the writers who was very kind in assuming the intentions of Isa. But let's look at the dark
Maybe you
side here.
should share a link to.
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh,
There it is again.
Oh, okay. There. I'm
magic.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, he has been one of the other writers who have assumed the best of intentions, given her the benefit of the doubt. But let's look at the dark side here because Star Wars is coming up, and dark side stuff.
Yeah.
What if she's I know. I mean, how sincere is she? I mean, how possible is it for a person like Isa Mieno, who's a scientist or is into science, and to not actually know that what she's saying is misleading? I mean, let's look at the options here. Either she's being sincere and she doesn't know that she's misleading people and she's exaggerating the power of salt water to do certain things, or she knows, she's aware of it, and she's intentionally misleading, maybe for a greater good. Maybe she really believes that this product will help the Filipino people or the people who will have this product, because there is a senator, right, who mentioned giving more support to this
Yeah,
product. Or at worst, she's out for the money, for personal gain. She's now very popular. She's now a hero. If you criticize her so much online, you will get people asking you, oh, let me see the lamp that you invented. Like, how do you know that she's not a good scientist? Are you a scientist? How do you know that her lamp doesn't work? Have you invented the lamp yourself? Or you're just trying to bully her because she's a woman? I don't know if there are reactions like that even. But still, I'm sure even you have these people who think that you're doing something wrong by knocking her off this pedestal
Yeah,
that she's
like being a
based
negative person or being a crab.
yeah. So
Yeah,
as
it's easy to think that.
yeah, so as a scientist yourself, as a science writer, journalist, like what's your take on this? It could it be that it's an honest mistake and some communication with her, a simple conversation would point her to the errors in the way she communicates, because it's an issue of communication,
It
definitely.
is. It
Yeah.
is. So whatever the case may be, I don't want to guess what her intentions are or what the idea behind it is. But the main point is that in science and in technology, you put your idea out there for it to be criticized. That is how the methods of science work. You don't keep it a secret. There is no priesthood of science where all the secrets are kept. The, that's what peer review is all about. You put the idea out there so that people could try to poke holes in it, try to criticize it, see what its weaknesses are, what its strengths are, and then you don't take it personally, right?
Yeah.
You say, thank you for those criticisms. I will take them into consideration, and it seems that your criticisms are valid, and let me use the advice that you gave
Yeah.
in order to communicate the science behind this technology better. So that's the thing that's, as far as I can see, is missing from the conversation, especially from their side.
Okay.
And that was the problem, because from the get-go, everyone uh, was amazed,
Yeah.
like, oh, here's a saltwater powered lamp.
Yeah.
But you really have to ask these questions. How does it work? Does it work in the first place, right? And that was the dial that was missing. That was what was missing from the get-go.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that she was being duplicitous.
Okay.
But that's the point. I mean, if it really works, then show us.
Yeah.
Yes.
And unfortunately, she has been elusive. Like she has not been easy to reach for comment. Maybe if you organized an APEC, you could easily, the two of you, you could pretend you're Obama. And,
Yeah,
I
let's
can,
try that
right?
next
Yeah.
week.
yeah, we could do that. But if you can't organize an APEC, then we'll have to, I don't know, trust that she will communicate in good faith. Because so far, I don't think she has been. But the hype on this has died down though. Like APEC has gone, and I haven't read any news about her. My issue is if the investments are already happening and people are investing money in her company, if the government even, I don't know, maybe the government is already in talks to purchase however many units of this product, then it will be wasted money because
Yes.
so far solar powered lamps seem to be the more practical option. And if it's not yet at that stage where it will really be cost effective, then maybe further development is better. And if there doesn't seem to be any room for further development, then like anything in science, just scrap it and move on to the next thing.
I was talking to Dr. Ocon earlier, and he did say that there is a place for this kind of technology, saltwater batteries, yes. But he believes that given the limitations of the technology, it might not be feasible to use this for everyday lighting. In fact, if I remember correctly, in his essay, he did recommend them for emergency lighting, right? But that's the problem. When the salt lamp was positioned, it was positioned. The branding was for it to be a regular use every night, every day, every night lamp, right? But
A complete alternative.
yes, a complete alternative. Yes. So apparently the science, and maybe you can elaborate on this later on, but the expert saying that it might not meet that demand. So the thing is, again, the basic point is, can it help? Yes, but as long as we don't ask these questions, as long as we don't ask, we look delve, as long as we don't delve deeply into it, we won't really see the problems with it. We won't be able to put it in its right place.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe it is a miraculous product. Like it's a lamp. You put the salt in there, and then the salt just settles in the bottom, and then levitates, and then lights up, and wow! And we all eat our shorts. I mean, you were right. But if you know, barring that possibility, I think she has the onus
Yes.
to show us, to communicate with us, because it's an amazing thing. She's getting a lot of good press for this, and I think the responsibility is on her. She has this good opportunity to educate people on science, but
Yes.
Yeah, to educate on basic science. As a matter of fact, that's also one thing that's missing in the conversation. People don't seem to realize that the science behind how this works isn't, well, some of it can be complicated and technical, but the basics of it is something that's taught in high school chemistry.
Yeah.
So if we trust our educational system here in the Philippines or around the world, then it's something that we could at least learn the basics of, perhaps.
Yes.
There would be technical details that specialists like Dr. Ocon only they would understand it, and it would take us maybe a while, an entire semester's class,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
understand it. But the broad strokes
Yes.
are understandable, especially the fact of where the energy comes from. Because our civilization is, well, based on energy,
Yeah.
right? Lighting. In fact, the biggest problems that we face right now are also related to energy. Right?
yeah, and
Climate
fuel and climate change
Indeed.
and all that issue.
And so the most basic things about energy, like where energy can come from, or that you don't get energy for free,
yeah,
those should be easily understood by anyone. You
Yes.
don't need to have a PhD in science to be able to ask questions. Like when somebody claims that you have this device that you just plug into your socket and it will almost magically decrease your power consumption at home, then that should give you pause. That will
Yeah.
make you ask questions if you know the basic science of energy, the conservation of energy. So these are simple science, in fact, fundamental and basic. And everyone must be able to participate in the conversation, perhaps not to a very technical degree, but at least to a degree in which we could all ask ourselves that question.
Yes.
Like, does it really come from salt power,
Mm.
salt water? And if it does, what are the implications of that?
Yeah, I find it.
Or is it really sustainable in the first place? That's a very big question.
Yeah.
Like, if you're branding it as sustainable, is it really?
Yeah.
Because that's a very important question.
If it's not sustainable, what will you use for the S?
Yes, yes. So,
Super alternative, or
sort of alternative.
Sort of, or
Sometimes alternative.
Sometimes
Yeah.
salt enabled alternative lighting technology. So
Maybe,
salt
yes.
is in the SALT acronym. That's
Okay.
it. Thank you for watching this episode. Do like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. If you want to know more about the Mind Museum and their stuff, do visit their website and their blog, and do read the stuff at GMA News Online. Awesome stuff. And see you next time.